From the depot at Cleburne Station in Cleburne, Texas. It is day 2 of the 2017 Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. Hello, everyone. David Salzman alongside Logan Lawrence. Our first game pitting the top seed Chaparrals of Lubbock Christian against the 3-seed Rattlers of St. Mary's in an elimination contest. Our second game of the day, a winner's bracket game between the 4-seed St. Edwards and the 2-seed in Arkansas Fort Smith. But Logan, these two teams we're about to see, they have to win not only today, but also tonight, and then 2 more wins tomorrow just to bring home the Heartland Conference Championship hardware. So a lot of pressure on these two squads.
Yes, tough road to hoe for both teams. As you said, 4 wins in a row they have to get. These two teams, not strangers to each other. They played 6 times this year. Lubbock Christian won all 6. So if you think it's tough to win 3 games from a team, how about winning that 7th game in a row against a team? But on the side for St. Mary's is last season's history. These two teams met in the loser's bracket. First game last season in Belton, and St. Mary's eliminated Lubbock Christian, sent them 2-Q. So it's going to be a tough tournament. As I stated before the tournament, it's anybody's tournament. Number 4 versus number 3 right here. Excuse me, number 1 versus number 3.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday because of the 2 close games. St. Edwards had to rally late to knock off Lubbock Christian 12-8, and then Fort Smith held off a furious St. Mary's rally and won 6-3. The Rattlers, though, had the bases loaded in the 9th. Lubbock Christian last season, you mentioned, went 2-out. They were 4th in the South Central regional rankings going into that tournament, still got the 6th seed. They're 3rd in those rankings today, so still if they lose this one and go 2-out, they can make the NCAAs, but just like last year, they'll be sweating it out. Holden Grounds is the pitcher for the St. Mary's Rattlers, as the Rattlers are the home team here in this first game of the day. Grounds, senior from Corsicana, Texas, and transfer from the University of Virginia, 6-5, an ERA of 4.45, 51 walks, 84 hits allowed in 83 innings pitched. He has struck out 71, also 17 wild pitches. And so you just look at that stat line, Logan, and we'll be interested to see how his control is as we start off. We're underway. Lubbock Christian, Jaime Bustamante leading off, and is at short, batting .360 with an on-base percentage of .417, slugging percentage of .532. And you might have seen that pitch bounce hard off the turf around home plate. This is a brand-new stadium, so brand-new turf, and we saw a lot of those hard bounces in our 2 games yesterday. 2-0 the count, and right away we're seeing trouble with that control, and in fact looked like Ground slipped at the end of his delivery.
Yeah, he did there. You got to dig out that hole. Like you see a lot of chunks. It looks like it's very tough dirt right there because those are some big chunks that he's trying to wipe away there to get some of that more less solid dirt and more, I guess, loose and easy to land.
The 3-0 pitch, not even close. So a 4-pitch walk to Jaime Bustamante, and he's on first. Due up now, the third baseman for Lubbock Christian, Brandon Ricks. He's followed by the first baseman, Tony Reyes, hitting third. Cleanup hitters, the DH, Ryan Rogers, followed by the catcher, Chase Simmons, and the left fielder, Caleb Kodiker, hitting sixth. The right fielder, Brandon Urquizo, batting seventh, followed by the center fielder, Brent Stewart, and hitting ninth, the second baseman, Josh Narvaez. Daniel Crooks is the starter for Lubbock Christian today on the mound. A record of 8-1, an ERA of just over 3. So it's 5 pitches, 5 balls now for Holden Grounds.
That walk by Bustamante, he got on 5 times in 6 plate appearances yesterday. So 6 out of 7 here in the Heartland Conference Tournament. Definitely what you want to see from your leadoff hitter.
Brandon Ricks, .332 batting average, on-base percentage of .400. That was close, but missing just outside. So now 6 pitches, 6 balls from Grounds. This again, do or die for both these teams here in Cleburne. For St. Mary's, it's do or die, period. That is through the 5-hole of the catcher, Bo Barnes, and moving over to second is Bustamante on the wild pitch.
Yeah, you notice the catcher's having problems with blocking the ball. I've gone down there and checked it out. Home plate is kind of sunken in a little bit below, so there's a little bit of a lip from the turf to the home plate. And so when it bounces off the edge of that, that's why you see those high bounces like in the first at bat at Bustamante.
And another 4-pitch walk. That's the last thing St. Mary's needs to see. Their season's on the line. They finish Heartland Conference play with a record of 16-8, good for the 3 seed here, but an overall record of 23-25. So unlike Lubbock Christian, there's no at-large hopes for the Rattlers here.
Absolutely not. They've got to win the tournament. They've played a tough non-conference schedule. They've played all the top teams in the South Central region in the Lone Star.
And so St. Mary's is already going to get activity in the bullpen. However, there's about 4 players that have left the dugout and are walking all around behind the outfield fence to their bullpen area, which is in right center field.
Yeah, you might see the situation like St. Edwards. You could see it as a gamble yesterday when they took out their starting pitcher yesterday, Ballard Infante, and brought in their number 2 starter in the tournament, Stuart Springer. But it took him out early enough to where he could still come back if needed. And if they're going to win 4 straight games, that's probably going through head coach Charlie Meagle's mind. We're going to need to see how we work this. I mean, it's a delicate situation to manage.
Well, we have 8 pitches, 8 balls. I imagine if this is another 4-pitch walk, I mean, just now, those in the bullpen for St. Mary's have entered the bullpen area, which, as you see on your screen, is just beyond the right center field wall. There was no one in there to start the game. And so even if it's another 4-pitch walk, it's not enough time to get them warmed up. And now 9 pitches, 9 balls from Grounds. Tony Reyes at the plate, the Lubbock Christian first baseman, batting .370. One of a number of seniors on this roster and in the starting lineup. He's from Levelland, about a half hour outside Lubbock.
Had 2 appearances against LCU. He's got a 10 ERA.
That's off of the glove of Barnes, and that's probably a pass ball, although the pitch ruled the ball to make it 2-0. Both runners advance.
And Barnes has had trouble with that this year, double-digit pass balls. He had one in the first game last night.
LCU batting .366 against Browns this season. He's got 8 walks in 9 innings. Prior to this,
Corner infielders now even with the bag.
about to go 3 for 3 here.
And swinging away Reyes as he fouls it back. That wasn't a bad pitch, although it looked to be a bit inside.
I mean, 10 straight balls. You're taking all the way. You've got to.
At some point, I guess you're thinking he's going to throw a strike. He's just going to try to aim it in the middle of the plate. Deep breath by Grounds. And now ready to deliver to the 2-1. If that gets away from Barnes, here comes Bustamante to score. Ricks over to third, and Grounds just shakes his head in front of home plate. A disastrous start for Grounds and the Rattlers as Lubbock Christian leads 1-0.
Well, I think he's got his footing down on the mound now. It's just unable to throw strikes. He might be out there aiming now.
Another deep breath by Grounds as now he gets set. It's a 3-1 count with a run in. Still nobody out, and that's not close. Now, we've already had a visit to the mound, and again, the activity is just beginning in the St. Mary's bullpen.
Up for St. Mary's, left-hander number 6, Zach De La Garza, and right-hander number 27, Hayden Hibbler.
Well, Grounds has had trouble with his control this season, but not like this. Mentioned again coming in, 51 walks, 17 wild pitches in 83 innings, but such a rough start for him. He goes off speed, and this pitch misses high to the designated hitter, Ryan Rogers, junior from Littlefield, Texas, batting .366. He's the only non-senior in the starting lineup. That's a good breaking ball and called a strike.
Well, unable to locate his fastball, he goes to his breaking ball there. So if you can throw that for a strike, I mean, go with it until you get more comfortable.
Rogers, 44 runs batted in, power hitter. So he's sitting on the breaking ball here. Here it comes. He got it, and it's in there for a strike.
Now, if you ask me, you do that 2 hitters ago. You throw that breaking ball if you can't get the fastball over.
Now he can
finding his mark now.
Sorry, Logan. Now he can afford to throw a fastball away from the zone. He does, not close. A lot of fans may be wondering, how can someone have trouble locating a fastball but locate a breaking ball better? All about release point and obviously confidence. Waves at a good breaking ball, and Rogers strikes out. Let's see if that calms. Grounds down, 1 away.
Well, throwing a curveball, you got to be a little more precise, and it's more of a field pitch. The fastball, sometimes you're just rear back and throwing, and maybe overthrowing. Maybe he's a little excited and pumped up for this game.
You remember in Lubbock Christian's first game yesterday against St. Edwards, both starters had trouble with their control in the first inning. In fact, Ballard and Fonte, it's a strike 1 call to the catcher Chase Simmons. Ballard and Fonte for St. Edwards walked 4 in just 2/3 of an inning before being yanked. Ricky Contreras for Lubbock Christian walked 3 in a 3-run St. Edwards first. He stayed in the game, settled down until St. Edwards solved him in the 7th. This could be 2 to first. And Holden Grounds pumps his chest, and after 10 straight balls to begin his appearance, only allows 1 run. No hits, 3 walks, 2 wild pitches, but the Rattlers will take it. Lubbock Christian with 1, St. Mary's coming up. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you. Well, what a top half of the first, as Holden Grounds only allows the 1 run after his first 10 pitches were for balls, but gets Chase Simmons to ground out to the 4-6-3 double play. So Lubbock Christian just a run on the board in the top of the first. And now they'll look to their starting pitcher and Daniel Crooks. Crooks an 8-1 mark with an ERA of 3.13 for the junior from Midland, Texas. This is his 14th start of the season, 15th appearance overall. He's been awfully good, 31 walks, 58 hits allowed in 77 2/3 innings. He has struck out 88, thrown just 3 wild pitches, although he has hit 8 batters this season. The lineup for St. Mary's, 1 through 9. Second baseman James Galeen will lead off, followed by the shortstop Brian Ramirez and the left fielder Donnie Perez. First baseman Jack Kaiser hits cleanup, followed by the third baseman Jacob Aguilar and the catcher Bo Barnes. Designated hitter is Zach Johnson batting 7th, followed by the center fielder Bryce Brandel, and in 9th the right fielder Javier Camacho. Daniel Crooks' battery mate is the catcher Chase Simmons. Defensively for Lubbock Christian, it's Brandon Ricks at third, Jaime Bustamante at short, Josh Narvaez at second, Tony Reyes at first, Caleb Kodiker on left, Brent Stewart the center fielder, and finally for the Chaparrals, Brandon Urquizo in right. So here is James Galeen swinging at the first pitch and coming on strong. Stewart can't get to it in time.
The wind playing a factor there. Yesterday the wind was blowing straight out to left. Now it's straight into left, and that ball just died out there in center field.
Senior from Denton, Texas on first. And to your point, it is an extremely strong wind going from left to right during batting practice. A lot of the balls coming off the bats look like my tee shot. Looked good at first, and then a nice heavy slice to the right.
You just line up down the left side of the fairway right there and slice it into the fairway.
It doesn't matter what I try. Here's Brian Ramirez as the sun pierced through the clouds here. A mostly cloudy day, and a good bunt down the first base line for Ramirez. It'll get the job done as Galeen moves over to second base. Ramirez the first out of the inning.
You talk about the season that Crooks has had. First team all-conference selection right there. Obviously, has been he and Contreras have led this team to the Heartland Conference Championship. Their consistency at the top of the rotation.
Crooks will throw 90 to 92. He's a good power pitcher, also a good slider, according to Lubbock Christian head coach Nathan Blackwood. More a strikeout guy than a contact guy. That's why you may see St. Mary's try to swing away early in counts, much like Galeen did, and Donnie Perez, the left fielder, who fouls the first pitch back.
3 pitches so far.
Right. Well, you mentioned St. Mary's 0-6 against Lubbock Christian. 3 conference games in Lubbock, 3 non-conference games in San Antonio, and the Chaparrals won them all. Good off-speed pitch, catches the inside corner.
We talked about St. Mary's kind of feast or famine this year, either getting swept in a conference series or sweeping the opposition. No real 2-1 series with anyone.
Just one, amazingly enough. They lost 2 of 3 at home to Texas A&M International, who didn't qualify for the conference tournament. 0-2 pitch ripped to right center. There's the wind pushing it all the way to that right center field gap, and Stewart does a nice job making the catch. It allows for an easier tag for Galeen, who goes to third.
Well, that ball started off in dead center and ended in right center. So the right fielder probably could have called off the center fielder in that instance, but he had a beat on it. So give the put out to Brent Stewart.
Chuck Kaiser batting .317, senior with 4 homers, 33 RBIs, an on-base percentage of .377. Senior from Friendswood, Texas in the Houston area. An 0-1 count. So St. Mary's lost 2 of 3 to A&M International. Now an 0-2 count to Kaiser. But besides that, they started conference play with the sweep at Rogers State, then swept Oklahoma Christian at home. They were 6-0 in the league. Then got swept at Lubbock Christian to go to 6-3. Then 2 weeks later, taking 1 of 3 against International, and they were down to 7-5. But then after that, sweeping St. Edward's in Austin to go to 10-5, sweeping Panhandle State, sweeping Newman, so they went from 7-5 in the league to 16-5, tied for first coming into the last weekend of the season, and then got swept at home by Arkansas Fort Smith. Lifted to right, but won't carry. Urquizo comes in, and that'll do it. So Galeen leadoff single, but he's left at third and through 1-0 Lubbock Christian. Conference tournament's fun, not just to see who brings home the hardware, but also keeping track of the other conference tournaments in the South Central region. So here in the Heartland, the elimination game is first today. At the Lone Star tournament in San Angelo, the winner's bracket game is first. Angelo State and West Texas A&M are scoreless in the second. And at 1 o'clock, winner's bracket game at the Rocky Mountain Conference tournament in Grand Junction, Colorado. It will be Colorado Mesa, the top seed, Colorado School of Mines, the 2 seed. But here, after this game, there'll just be 3 teams left. An 1-1 count to Caleb Kodiker, who had a rough go. And the loss to St. Edwards yesterday. Went 0 for 5. 3 of those outs came with the bases loaded. Pitch in there 1-2 now to Kodiker, senior from Seminole, Texas, coming in with a batting average of .309, on base percentage .371.
And Grounds has just gone specifically to that hard slider.
To right field, that's a liner to Camacho, and there's one away.
Yeah, he's definitely went away from that fastball, leading off with a hard slider. Not taking much off of it from his fastball. It's coming in pretty good, but definitely breaking. Maybe a bit of a cutter rather than a four-seamer.
If you're just joining us, Holden Grounds, the starter for St. Mary's, first 10 pitches were balls, and most if not all on the fastball. And so that's why, as you just said, Logan, he's gone more to the off-speed and breaking ball. Same thing there. Now, how long can he get away with not having control of his fastball? It's a 1-0 count to Brandon Urquizo, the Lubbock Christian right fielder, senior from Vernon, Texas. Missed with the fastball. Not surprisingly, the center fielder Brent Stewart is shaded towards right center with that strong wind left to right. Kodiker, 7 home runs. That leads the Chaparrals, 39 runs batted in, a slugging percentage of .560, which is best on the team. Fastball high. Well, you know these hitters are not sitting on the fastball until Grounds can show he can throw it for a strike. Missed it there. So those aren't borderline calls. Home plate umpire Patrick Griffin. Yeah. I could be in there and call those balls. They're not close. 4th walk allowed by Grounds. Man on first, 1 out. And here's Brent Stewart. Stewart, senior from Midland, Texas, .279 hitter, .339 on base percentage. 4 homers, 26 RBIs. That's fouled off to our right. He went after that first offering.
So the only change in the Lubbock Christian lineup is flip-flopping Simmons and Kodiker. Same 9 out there, though, from the first game of the tournament.
Off speed, just missed high. We're at the depot at Cleburne Station in Cleburne, Texas, home of the new Cleburne Railroaders of the American Association. Their season starts next week. Tough play, Aguilar, and a first, nicely done. A short hop out of the turf into the glove of Jack Kaiser. 2 away, and Urquizo moves to second.
Absolutely. It was do or die. He couldn't sit back and wait on it, so he had to take the short hop and throw on the run. And a great job by Aguilar. You said the depot at Cleburne Station, and, of course, they are the Railroaders. And around the ballpark, you see 3 to 4 train cars, train engines, and very nice setup here. Very nostalgic.
It seats 1,700. Josh Narvaez, the second baseman, takes the ball.
Now, is that including the berms down the right and left field lines?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's actually 1,700 actual seats, but those seats in just beyond the first and third bases, and then you have the berm all the way to the outfield fence. Count as 1-1 to Narvaez. .253 hitter, on base percentage of .349.
Of course, I don't think you can see the stands out in right field as well.
Aguilar A little bit of an easier play here, and Grounds, despite still not having control of that fastball, gets out of the second, just giving up a one-out walk. Still 1-0 Lubbock Christian going to the bottom half of inning number 2. First of 3 games here, day number 2 of the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. We've started with 4 teams. We will end with 2. This is an elimination game. And the winner of this game will take on the loser of St. Edward's Fort Smith in an elimination game at approximately 7 o'clock tonight. Fort Smith, St. Edward's, who both won yesterday, their first pitch scheduled for 3:30. Jacob Aguilar, St. Mary's third baseman, leads off the bottom of the second. 1-1 count as Daniel Crooks begins his second inning of work. Aguilar batting .345, an on-base percentage of .403. Fouls that to the left of the third base line, a breaking ball inside.
Aguilar does have a Regional Hitter of the Week award to his credit this year by the Baseball Writers Association.
It's a good one, junior from El Paso. Narvaez, easy play. 1 away in the second. We expect Heartland Conference Commissioner, in fact, he is in the building, Tony Stigliano. He will join us at the top of the third. And we have a lot of things to talk about, especially having the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament now here at a neutral site for the first time in quite a while, and at this great new facility in Cleburne, Texas. Here's Bo Barnes, St. Mary's catcher, 6th in the order, but leading the team in batting average at .371. On-base percentage is tops also at .427.
Crooks is really heating it up out there. All the St. Mary's batters have been late on his fastball, especially with it being outside. They're having a hard time pulling the ball. Barnes 2 straight times on the net on the right side there.
0-2 to the senior from Dallas. Rough night last night, went 0 for 4 in the 6-3 loss to Fort Smith. Rattlers left them loaded. And the top half of the ninth, they had a run across, but couldn't finish it off. Oh, that hit him. And, boy, that got him in the hand, and he shakes his right hand off as he heads down to first base.
Can hear the Lubbock Christian dugout calling it, hit the bat, hit the bat. But the majority of the time, the batter's going to get the benefit of the call there. It's tough to see.
Looking over at first, Barnes. Not a threat to run, 2 stolen bases. Not really shaking off the pain on that right hand now. So good to see. Here's Zach Johnson, the St. Mary's DH. .250 batting average, on base percentage of .319 for the junior from Austin.
One of the biggest players on the team at 6'4", 215.
Fastball in there. Lubbock Christian with a 1-0 lead without the benefit of a hit. First 10 pitches they saw from St. Mary's starter Holden Grounds were balls. First 3 batters walked, and the run scored by Jaime Bustamante came on a wild pitch. That just missed inside.
Well, the difference between the two starting pitchers is when Crooks misses, he's not missing by much. He's going to get some of those borderline calls.
Big hack and a miss. That's the fastball we talked about that can hit 92. Johnson was a bit late pulling the trigger. Simmons had set up outside. Pitch inside, however, from Crooks, and now a full count.
Well, Johnson with 20 strikeouts on the season. Let's see if St. Mary's decides to gamble here with 1 out and send Barnes on the 3-2 pitch.
Not going. Pitch fell back. Now remember, of course, Barnes just got hit in that right hand. Of course, if Johnson strikes out, Simmons can try to throw to second, force a slide from Barnes.
You might not think the bluff is necessary, though, but it might cause the catcher to come up out of his crouch thinking that the runner is going. Could prevent a high strike call.
That misses. That's a good at-bat from Johnson. Hit batter, then a walk. And the Rattlers have runners at first and second, just 1 out. Bryce Brandel had a solid game last night, 2 for 3 with a walk, and he's up now.
He also stole a base and was caught stealing.
Junior from
definitely forcing the action.
Sorry, Logan. Junior from El Campo, the former Rice Bird, transfer from Texas State. 200 batting average, on base percentage at .276 coming in. 2 homers, 19 RBIs. Wind has died down a bit, still blowing left to right, and Brent Stewart remains shaded in right center against all these hitters. Simmons will go out to talk to Crooks after Crooks misses with a fastball. So both these teams need 4 wins in 2 days. They need to win this game, then the nightcap against the loser of Fort Smith St. Edwards. And then after that, whoever gets out of tomorrow night's game has to win twice against the winner of Fort Smith St. Edwards. That's why yesterday's games, I mean, they're all important, but it's just a twinge of added significance yesterday because such different situations between these 2 teams and the 2 we'll see next. These 2 teams have to play 5 games and win their last 4 to win the conference tournament title. Fort Smith and St. Edwards, they can win today, win 1 game tomorrow. That's it. They just need 3 games, potentially. And they'll get the second chance tomorrow. If they win today but lose game 1, which is set for noon, tomorrow afternoon. 2-1 the count. Well, you said it. Those are not missing by much. A good job by Brandel to lay off. Here's the thing. You said this is the 7th time these teams have played. This is the 3rd time they've seen Crooks. They're familiar with him. And vice versa. Got the outside corner call there.
It's almost like when you get to the 2nd or 3rd time through the order, you feel comfortable with the pitcher, but 3 starts, plenty to go off of.
The payoff. I don't think Brandel was expecting fastball. He pulled that trigger late, No chance, and a big strikeout for Crooks.
That's the first strikeout in the game for Crooks, and there's 2 away. 2 aboard.
Here's the 9-hole hitter and Javier Camacho, the St. Mary's right fielder. Good-looking freshman from Corpus Christi. Went 0 for 3 last night with a run scored. Barnes hit by a pitch at second. Johnson walked his at first. St. Mary's left 11 on base last night in their 6-3 loss. 2 on base here, 2 away, and an 0-1 count. That's outside. So tomorrow, or rather later today, that's our winner's bracket game. St. Edward's, Fort Smith, set for 3:30. Strike of the knees, 1 and 2. Crooks, 88 strikeouts and 77 2/3 coming in. Good job by Camacho, getting a piece and fouling it back.
Well, the start that St. Mary's got off to the top of the first, you thought this was going to be a 4 or 5 run top of the first, but they 1 run, and now they're putting runners on themselves.
Looking to keep the inning alive, but the fastball gets Camacho just like it does Brando. Back-to-back Ks after 2 runners were on with 1 away. Heartland Conference Commissioner Tony Stigliano to join us in 1 minute. 1-0 Lubbock Christian through 2. And we welcome you back to the depot at Cleburne Station in Cleburne, Texas, side of the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. David Salzman, and a pleasure to be joined now by the commissioner of the Heartland Conference, and Tony Stigliano. Well, what an event this has been. It's a beautiful ballpark. You go back to a neutral site for the baseball tournament. How about your thoughts on how things have gone so far?
You know, we've been very, very pleased with the opportunity that Cleburne, the semi-pro team here, has given us in the city of Cleburne. I'll be very frank with you. 6 months ago when we came up to visit to see if this is what we want to do, we were concerned that it wouldn't be ready. But we decided we'd risk. And last time I came here a month ago, I was still nervous. And as you can see, the field itself is beautiful. The park is wonderful. The city of Cleburne has been terrific. I'm very excited to present this to our Leadership Council in June meeting, because I think we need to stay here for a while. And talking to the coaches, they're just ecstatic for their players, and I think the atmosphere for the players has been great.
Jaime Bustamante, who has the only run of the game, just flies out to right center field. So there's 1 away, top of the 3rd. Lubbock Christian leading 1-0 as Holden Grounds is on for his 3rd inning of work on the mound for St. Mary's. So kind of stole my next question. What about in the future? I don't think there are any official plans yet, but you want to come back here in future years.
I personally If I could vote today, I would sit down with them and negotiate an agreement. But, we have a protocol in the conference that we have to go through. But I think our leadership council, we have the chair of our baseball committee here, one of the athletic directors, and he and I both agree that once we present this to the athletic directors, I think they would approve it. I will say that the St. Edward's baseball coach said, why don't we stay here for the next 10 or 12 years?
This is Brendan Ricks, the third baseman for Lubbock Christian, a 1-2 count to him with one away. And the top of the third, Heartland Conference Commissioner Tony Stigliano joining us. So you just completed your second year a couple of months ago in Tulsa, a neutral site for the Heartland Conference basketball tournament. And so this obviously, as grounder to first and a flip 3-1, nicely done Kaiser to grounds, and there's two away now in the inning. Between basketball, baseball, softball still has their tournament at the site of the regular season champion. So is this something you want to continue to expand? What about softball?
We've discussed softball, but I think currently our coaches like the highest seed site. But it's on the agenda to discuss with our athletic directors. We've been not changing from baseball, but getting away from baseball. But
Tony Reyes grounds out 6-3, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for grounds. You can stay here, right?
Right.
So, all right. So 1-0 is our score as Lubbock Christian leads St. Mary's despite not having the benefit of a hit. David Salzman alongside, again, Heartland Conference Commissioner Tony Stigliano. So it looks like those softball won't move to a neutral site.
Not at this point.
Okay.
It's in the process for discussion, but our softball coaches have been very pleased with the highest seed site. But that could change. I mean, the baseball opportunity came up when there was a former coach in the Heartland Conference, was at Dallas Baptist. He had contacted and talked to some of our folks in the conference, and one of our athletic directors, Curtis Jantz from University of Arkansas Fort Smith, called me and said, hey, there's an opportunity for us to maybe look at our baseball tournament at Grand Prairie. That's how we started.
Okay.
That didn't pan out because Grand Prairie took on the national NCAA Division II tournament.
Right, the World Series.
Correct. And then they also picked up the JUCO Division II and III. And so they put me in contact with a gentleman here, and then we just hooked up from there. And so it's been a blessing. So we're very excited about this opportunity. And if we stay here, I hope fans want to come out and just see the park. I think they'll be impressed. Whatever team they represent, I think they'll be impressed. I've talked to some of the fans, and they like it.
Again, Heartland Conference Commissioner Tony Stigliano with us. We're about to begin the bottom half of the third inning in this elimination game as Lubbock Christian leads St. Mary's by a 1-0 score. Be top of the order up for the Rattlers, James Galeen, Brian Ramirez, and Donnie Perez. Oklahoma Panhandle State's making the move to NAIA. So when it comes to kind of the overall outlook of the conference, any type moves that you want to make in response?
Our conference right now is looking at adding schools to the conference. So we're in what we call an exploratory mode right now, just looking at different opportunities. What would be best for the conference geographically, demographically, championships, regional play, less costs, class time miss, are the things that I think are important for the student athletes, and that's what our presidents and our leadership council wants to look at. So we're in the process of looking at all the options right now.
James Galeen off the first pitch from Daniel Crooks, a leadoff single to begin the third. He's 2 for 2 now. In fact, has the only hits in this game for either team. So taking what you just mentioned in your answer, you're hoping to expand, but obviously the geographic area has to fit.
Yes, and there's a lot of things going on. In Oklahoma right now, there's some financial issues with colleges and universities up there. So right now it's just gather all the data, gather all the facts, put it together, present it to our President's Council, and then, see what direction they would like to go for the conference.
1-0 the Lubbock Christian lead as Brian Ramirez, the St. Mary's shortstop's at the plate. Fouled off a bunt to make it an 0-1 count. Now 0-2 as he fouls this offering over to the right. I loved what you did yesterday. You actually had graduation for a number of the players here who weren't able to attend their graduation ceremonies back at home.
Yes, we were excited about that. I think it recognizes that our President's Council really focus in on academics and what's best for the student athlete, and to make sure that we put our priorities in the right place. So that yesterday I thought was tremendous for the two teams that we did that with, St. Mary's and University of Arkansas Fort Smith. So I agree with you.
So an 0-1 offering. The pitch came inside on Brian Ramirez, and it broke off, I think, the edge of the bat near the handle. And so with an still 0-1, it is an 0-1 count. I apologize, but Ramirez now will. Actually, it is 0-2, but Ramirez will now step back to the plate. When you look at the other conferences in this region, Lone Star and the RMAC, I think as far as baseball is concerned, especially these last few years, as that's a strikeout of Ramirez, and there's one away now in the third with Lubbock Christian leading 1-0. The competitiveness that the Heartland has had, especially taking into account how good those other two conferences have had. And you have 3 teams in the top 8 in the regional rankings here, just one in the RMAC. Baseball seems to be getting tougher and tougher top to bottom in this league.
No, we agree with you. We have 5 or 6 teams that really, even though we had a 4-team tournament, we probably had 2 other teams that could have competed very well here also. So I think our baseball coaches would agree with you that we've been very competitive in baseball this year.
Time was called just as Crooks got into his motion, and that's why he lobbed the pitch to his catcher, Chase Simmons, but that's no pitch. And so Donnie Perez, still waiting his first official pitch, he's at the plate and flew out to right center his first time up. James Colleen is at first, and a 1-0 Lubbock Christian lead, 1 out in the bottom half of the third, and there's the first pitch strike on a fastball. Because you've gone neutral here for this baseball tournament, it takes away maybe some advantage the top seed would have, because in previous years they would host it. Are you thinking of expanding this tournament above 4 teams?
Yes. When I say expand it, it's on the discussion, the table for discussion. It'll be discussed by our championship committee, and recommendations will be made to our leadership council and probably discussed in our June meeting. That we go from 4 to 6. So, yes, that's going to be addressed.
Interesting. And so that could be in effect for next year, potentially.
Yes, correct.
That pitch line foul.
And I would share with you that Cleburne would like to have 6 teams.
Okay.
The issue comes in, just to give an example, I think everybody would be pro. The problem is graduation, academics. This is the time of the year that all occurs. So if you had 6 teams, you'd probably have to start out on a Tuesday. That's like a week. So there's some challenges there that you have to look at.
2-2 now to count to Perez. A 1-0 Lubbock Christian lead with 1 out in the bottom of the third and a runner on first. So while I have you, talk about potential changes for baseball. What about for, let's say, basketball, where you've had 8 teams go to Tulsa? The men and the women, of course, are there at the same time. That has seemed to have gone well in the first 2 years there.
Yes, it has. We've been very excuse me. We've been very pleased with the basketball tournament, and very pleased with Tulsa, the city of Tulsa, doing a great job to support that. So it's turned out well. This past year, the first year was great. The second year was even better. So we have one more year in Tulsa.
Anything else going on in regards to your conference you want to make sure the fans know about?
Well, I just want the fans to know that our conference has done a great job this year. Our staff has done a great job in supporting it. Our athletic directors and presidents have done a terrific job. It's been a great year for us, and we're very excited about the future. And I think that fans who are rooting for teams that come out and see these youngsters play, it's gratifying. Just watching baseball for 2 years has been unbelievable here.
Well, that's a nice play for Lubbock Christian. A line out to Ricks, and he doubles off Colleen by throwing to Reyes. At first, the double play, 5-3. Heartland Conference Commissioner Tony Stigliano, so great to talk to you again. Congrats on what's been a great tournament so far.
Thank you very much. I need to speak more to get through quick, don't they?
They do, I know. Well, now you understand the press box jinx now.
I got you.
We're going to be here 4 hours.
Much.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
So good to see you. Tony Stigliano, Commissioner of the Heartland Conference. It is 1-0 Lubbock Christian as we head to the 4th, the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament from the Depot at Cleburne Station in Cleburne, Texas. Good one so far. Lubbock Christian without the benefit of a hit. A 1-0 lead over St. Mary's as we head to the fourth. Logan Lawrence rejoining me. And again, thanks to Heartland Conference Commissioner Tony Stigliano for joining us. So holding his ground. It's the only time I'll say that, I promise. After his first 10 pitches were for balls, he has begun to settle in. And Ryan Rogers at the plate to lead things off, a 2-0 count to him.
Well, it sounds like the Heartland Conference has got a lot of big things in store. I mean, going to 6 teams in this tournament would make it a lot more exciting. As you said, a couple teams on the outside looking in that might have deserved to be here as well.
And it's interesting, and again, this is just proposed, although Mr. Stigliano just told us that that is quite possible for next year and that Cleburne wants it. Yeah, thinking this year, and to the point I asked him about the depth of this conference top to bottom in baseball, sometimes here's a grounder to third, and tough play for Aguilar, though he recovers in time to get out Rogers. I think if your conference isn't deep enough, I don't think you want 6 teams. It's just not great baseball. I think now, especially in the last couple of years, the depth of the Heartland is good enough where you'll see 3 good games a day if you have 6 teams here.
The only thing I would be worried about is the Heartland Conference is losing the Oklahoma Panhandle State, so we go down to 8 baseball teams. So that means 6 of the 8 would make the tournament. So you're going to have a couple of teams with losing conference records more than likely.
Right. 0-1 pitch to Chase Simmons as a grounder to short. Ramirez on to first. And that's now 7 in a row retired by Crooks. If you look at what happened in the Lone Star Conference this year, where you have a team in Tarleton State that is ranked 7th in the regional rankings, again, 6 are going to make it to the NCAA tournament. But they finished in a tie for 4th, and because it's a 4-team tournament, and Tarleton State lost the tiebreaker to Cameron, they're not there. And so if the Lone Star, let's say, had 6, that gives Tarleton a chance to get some wins to impress the committee. Their season may be done because of that. That's another reason maybe to expand to 6, although obviously a lot more games, a lot more work for the folks here.
Yeah, it's kind of a risky move, but you want to give as many teams possible a chance to extend their season.
Right.
And not only that, as top to bottom, as this conference gets better, it's going to benefit the conference as a whole.
0-2 the count to Caleb Kodiker. He flew out to right his first time up. Now a 1-2 count. Lubbock Christian's a big reason why the depth of this conference is so much better. As that was tipped, but did it stay in the glove of Bo Barnes? He says yes. Home plate umpire Patrick Griffin, not so sure. They're appealing. And the ruling is that the ball hit the turf around home plate. Bo Barnes can't believe it. He's looking around saying, someone support me here. That ball was in my glove the whole time. Instead, it's ruled a foul tip, and because the ball touched the turf ever so slightly, that's enough for it to be called just a strike and not an out. Crooks thought he was out of the inning. Now he has to regroup, and his fastball is high to make it 2-2.
Well, one thing, I'm not sure if it has the black rubber pellets on this turf.
Now that gets away. It bounces back to Crooks. And not in time. Kodiker reaches base for the first time in Cleburne off a strikeout.
Yeah, tough call there. Barnes didn't get the call. As I was saying, the black pellets aren't popping up when it hits the turf. You don't have that dirt that you see pop up when it skips in there. So tough to call if Barnes had it in his glove or not, or he trapped it.
And so now Crooks has to continue to regroup and face Brandon Urquiza, who walked in the second. 4 walks allowed by Grounds. And now again Kodiker reaching on the strikeout wild pitch. Kodiker, a late break to second, and the throw sails into center field. Because Kodiker slid, and also a good chance or a good job by Bryce Brandel from center field to come scoop that ball up in shallow center field. No chance for Kodiker to go to third, but he's in scoring position now, and a 2-0 count to Urquizo.
Kodiker, a first-team all-conference selection. 7 all-Heartland Conference first-team selections for the Chaparrals.
Really?
7. Contreras, Crooks, Tony Reyes, the first baseman, Brandon Ricks at third, Bustamante at short, Kodiker, and Rogers.
And Nathan Blackwood, Coach of the Year. Lubbock Christian, outright regular season champs. 19-5 in the Heartland. 3-1 now the count to Urquizo. Lubbock Christian and St. Mary's having to do it the hard way to win this tournament after losing yesterday. They need to win 2 today, 2 tomorrow. Time was called as I believe St. Mary's coaches wanted Galeen to go a little further off the bag. Now sneaking back in, perhaps trying to get behind Kodiker. Crowns looks back, then delivers. That's a strike, full count. He's still having some trouble locating his fastball. It was a disastrous start for Grounds. First 10 pitches were balls. Add to that 2 wild pitches, and that's how Lubbock Christian has the lone run of this game. Jaime Bustamante scoring from third on the second wild pitch. Just missing. Good job by Urquizo to work the walk, and that's the 5th allowed by Grounds.
Well, the good news is first base was open there, so you still just have the 1 runner in scoring position. And the 8-hole hitter coming up, so see if that works into the advantage of St. Mary's here.
Brent Stewart, 1 for 5 with a run scored last night. Coming in, batting .279, is 0 for 1 today. Wind continuing to blow pretty strongly from left to right, so across the field here in Cleburne. I found interesting what Tony Sigliano said. He said, because again, this is a new stadium, and they're still doing work mostly outside the stadium, but planting grass, painting the parking lot. We'll have a conference on the mound as the count is 1-0 to Stewart. And he said he was here last week, and he said he was still nervous that this wouldn't be fully ready. But he and the coaches have been very pleased with how things have gone so far.
Absolutely. On the field, everything's been great. Of course, walking around the facility before the game and after the game, you notice a lot of maintenance workers around, and TVs being hung in the suites and chairs being assembled and placed.
We had some construction going on a couple of suites away from us during the game. They had to be told to stop it. Now, I understand they want to get it done, but baseball takes first priority here.
Absolutely. The batting cage at home plate, the shell as they call it, was actually delivered Wednesday afternoon, the day before the tournament, and they had to get it together pretty quick. So everything brand new here at the depot.
That's why if they come back next year, of course, everything will be established and it'll even be a smoother ride. There's some soft tossing going on in the St. Mary's pen. Now we're ready to go. A 1-0 count to Stewart and 2 runners on. Throw back to second, and Galeen just did a good job making sure that didn't go into center field. A 1-0 Lubbock Christian lead. And San Angelo State a 2-0 lead on West Texas A&M. That's a winner's bracket game at the Lone Star on the 4th. 1-1 count now. Ready for the 1-1. Good fastball. That might be his best fastball of the afternoon. He located that well on the outside corner. I already talked about his struggles with that pitch today. Got him. to swing and miss on an outside fastball. Grounds gets out of another jam. After leaving 12 on base yesterday, Lubbock Christian has left 5 on base so far this afternoon, but they still lead 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Jack Kaiser leads off the bottom of the 4th for St. Mary's. He'll be followed by Jacob Aguilar and Bo Barnes. Kaiser 0 for 1 in this game, 1 for 4 with a couple of walks in this tournament so far. Daniel Crooks' 4th inning of work. This pitch is lifted, foul ground, but in play, and the wind kept the ball going even closer towards the line than usual, yet Brandon Ricks recovered well and made the grab.
Yeah, Ricks had to go back towards it, and kind of his feet came out from under, or started to, and he's able to make the catch right there in the coaching box just off your screen.
So 1 away for Jacob Aguilar. Aguilar 0 for 1. So again, 3 conferences make up the South Central region. 6 teams from the region will make it to the NCAA tournament, including the 3 conference tournament champions. This game we're seeing here in Cleburne, an elimination game. Winners bracket games, though, will get the RMAC started in just a couple of minutes in Grand Junction, Colorado. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, already underway in San Angelo. Angelo State still with a 2-0 lead over West Texas A&M in the 4th.
Yeah, the Buffs, a great pitching staff. Just to kind of tell you a little bit about last night's performance, Marshall Kozowski for West Texas A&M got the win on the season, 156 strikeouts, 17 in one game against Eastern New Mexico. I mean, the quality of athletes in the South Central region has been increased. I mean, the talent level has just increased each year, and it gets a lot tougher to make it to the regional and make it out of the regional.
So you're saying for whatever team makes the regionals and draws West Texas A&M in the first game, good luck.
Absolutely. There's no reason they wouldn't throw him in the first game.
Well, they had that big win over A&M Kingsville yesterday because coming in to the tournament, West Texas A&M ranked 4th in the region, A&M Kingsville 5th. That's going to drop in front of Urquizo for a base hit. 3rd hit for St. Mary's, the first by someone other than James Galeen, and Aguilar is on with 1 away.
That's what these batters need to figure out. You're not going to be able to pull the ball and get it up in that wind and get it past the left fielder. It's going to hang up. You got to go to right field, go with the wind, slice it towards right. And right there, good job by Aguilar to go the other way.
Strike call to Bo Barnes, who thought that pitch was low. Well, he's had an interesting game. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, thought he had a strikeout in the top of the 4th, but it was ruled the pitch rolled out of his glove for a foul tip. Swings away here, and it could be 2, 4, 6, 3. Aguilar erased on the double play. That does it for St. Mary's in the 4th, and still without the benefit of a hit through 4. Lubbock Christian leads it 1-0. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you. Appreciate all of you being with us for the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament, not just this afternoon, but yesterday if you were able to join us. And if you're watching now, settle in, because this is just the first of 3 games here today. Winners bracket game between Fort Smith and St. Edwards coming up at approximately 3:30. And the winner of the game we're seeing now will take on the loser of that Fort Smith-St. Edwards game at 7. Loser of this game between St. Mary's and Lubbock Christian will be back home by the time the night is done. They'll be out. I don't know, 1 pitch. That's a base hit up the middle, and the first hit for Lubbock Christian by their 9-hole hitter, Josh Narvaez. He's on to lead off the 5th.
Well, setting the table now, back to the top of the order in Bustamante, who's been on 6 of 8 times here in the tournament.
Jaime Bustamante with the game's only run, scoring on a wild pitch. Since that wild first inning, Holden Grounds has settled in. But now the tough part of the order really begins. It's all tough as that pitch was in the turf, and still Narvaez is tagged out. It was a late break as the ball bounced in front of Bo Barnes. Tag applied in time, yet we will get an argument with second base umpire Bill Powell.
I mean, he tagged him on the back of the leg, like behind his knee. So tagging that far back, you've got to expect that the hand's already on the bag.
Nathan Blackwood, who's the third base coach, as part of his head coaching duties.
Logistics, if you tag his foot, more than likely he's safe than out. And no one's going to
Bill Powell explaining what he saw. Now, to your point, if you're tagging someone around that ankle foot area, you know, the player making the slide has to still be pretty far away from the bag in order for that to be ruled out. You just don't see that very often. So now the base is empty, 1 away, and that pitch fouled off. So Bustamante now with a 1-1 count. Breaking ball, strike just above the belt.
You notice, you probably see on your screen there, the middle infield for St. Mary's. With this turf field, the ball is going to travel, and they're playing way back out on what would you say would be the outfield cut, but actually just the green part of the turf.
The green part of the turf. That's why I miss dirt. I miss real dirt in more places than just the mound. Call strike 3. That's a beautiful breaking ball that crosses the inside corner. 2 away.
He snuck that one in there. Bustamante was looking outside for the first handful of pitches from Grounds, and Grounds snuck one in there.
Ricks walked in that rough first inning by Grounds. Grounded out his last time up. First pitch strike.
So much like Chris Jones in the first game for St. Mary's, a bit of a rough start, but able to settle in and eat up these innings and keep the team in the ballgame.
Chris Jones last night went the distance. 8 innings and a St. Mary's loss, and they were the visiting team, falling 6-3. Jones allowed 10 hits, 4 walks, and he was well over 100 pitches. But saved the St. Mary's staff for today, what could be a long day for them. Count 1 and 2 as that's fouled off. Charging Ramirez. In time, and that'll do it for Lubbock Christian in the 5th. So they get their first hit, but then Narvaez caught stealing. And it's still 1-0 halfway through. Halfway through as we go to the bottom of the fifth. St. Mary's down 1-0. 7, 8, and 9 due up with Zach Johnson at the plate. He walked his first time up, was left on base. St. Mary's has left 3 on base. Double plays have ended the last 2 innings. This one of 2 St. Mary's teams playing this afternoon. It's a grounder to short. Bustamante. And that took Reyes a bit off the bag, but he did make the tag. Good play by the Lubbock Christian first baseman. There's one away. St. Mary's softball taking part in the NCAA tournament, winning their first regional game yesterday over Texas Women's 7-5. So a winner's bracket game for them in Canyon against the host West Texas A&M. That will get underway in about 20 minutes, and we'll keep track of that game in addition to all the baseball. Lubbock Christian softball took the number 1 team in the nation, Angelo State, down to the wire, but Angelo with a homer in the 6th, winning 4-3. Lubbock Christian softball will play at 3:30. 3 unassisted. Bryce Brandel now the second out of the 5th. Javier Camacho now at bat. Fastball in there. It's just a beautiful day despite the wind. No rain in the forecast, though it is mostly cloudy. Late pulling the trigger on that fastball. It's a foul tip, but still a strike. 0-2. Right now it's 76, but the high temperature is just around 80.
Crooks does not have a decision against St. Mary's this season.
Lifted to left, but that'll go foul, even with the wind. In fact, you couldn't see it on your screen. The third baseman, Ricks, did a good job staying with it, because normally that's going to be well out of play, but with the wind going left to right, it still fell in the berm, but in the front part of the berm, maybe not even 10 feet away from Rick's glove.
You couldn't see it on the screen, but impressive. Third base umpire Gabe Chavez matching Rick step for step towards the line.
Getting in his exercise. Got him. Impressive inning for Daniel Crooks. Still 1-0. Lubbock Christian through 5. One run, 1 hit, no errors for Lubbock Christian. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for St. Mary's. You were making the comment off air, Logan, that after the first inning, the thought that we would have this pitcher's duel as we head to the top of the 6th, you would have had good odds had you bet that with St. Mary's starter Holden Grounds. First 10 pitches for balls and not even close. And Daniel Crooks struggling through the first inning and the second inning as well, and yet here we are, 1-0 in the sixth.
Well, Grounds' start in the first inning had the St. Mary's bullpen scrambling out to the bullpen
Right.
out there. And get this, we're in the top of the sixth, and he's only given up one hit.
Tony Reyes 0 for 1 with a walk. One of those 3 walks to begin the game at the top of the first. Lifts this to right. Wynn's going to take it to the line, and a tough play and a running grab made by the second baseman, James Galeen. He was more than halfway down the outfield.
Wow, the right fielder, Javier Camacho, got a late jump on that. He didn't see it off the bat and couldn't come in close enough. And Galeen, it was his ball to get because of that, and able to make the play. 2 hits on the day and a play like that. So far, he's the player of the game for St. Mary's.
But not only running that far, but able to get under that ball in time and make the running grab. That was as impressive a play as we've seen here in Cleburne these last 2 days.
And the wherewithal to go all out on that play with Camacho coming in here in the footsteps.
Big cut by Ryan Rogers, and it's 0-2 to the Lubbock Christian designated hitter. Well, when your season's on the line, you have to go all out. And a player like Galeen, who is a senior, knows that this could be it for him in his college career if St. Mary's is unable to win 2 today, 2 tomorrow. Galeen started his career at Arkansas Little Rock, former Trojan. He's from Denton, Texas. That's foul outside the third base line. Catcher Chase Simmons on deck. So the 1 hit allowed to Lubbock Christian through 5 1/3. This is a Lubbock Christian team that came in best in the Heartland Conference in team batting average, .323. Tied with St. Edwards and on base percentage at .388. Get held in check. Bounces away. 2-2 now the count. To third. Aguilar there. 2 away. Not only was Lubbock Christian best in the conference with a .323 team batting average, they hit .345 in conference games on their way to a first-place finish at 19-5. We haven't mentioned it in a while, but worth repeating as this is definitely part of the storyline. These teams played 6 times in the regular season. Lubbock Christian won them all. Many of those games weren't close. The first 2 were in San Antonio. That was the non-conference series, 3-2 and 2-0. Simmons, this ball coming back with the wind and coming in is Donnie Perez in left. Off the bat, that looked like it had home run distance. The wind pulled it in, and it's just a long fly ball out.
Yesterday it would have been gone, but not on a day like today with the wind blowing in.
And so that's a wild 1-2-3 inning. Still 1-0 through 5 1/2. So what a wild top of the sixth that was. It was a 1-2-3 inning in the scorebook. But the second baseman, James Galeen, going more than halfway into right field to make a catch off the bat of Tony Reyes. And then a big hit off the bat of Chase Simmons that the wind held in for Donnie Perez to make the grab. There, as we begin the bottom half of the sixth, on one pitch, James Galeen, who was 2 for 2, grounds out to second. There's one out.
Galeen has not been shy. He swung at the first pitch in 2 of his 3 at-bats.
They continue to swing early in the count against Crooks, who is a strikeout pitcher. 4 strikeouts, I apologize, so far today for Crooks through 5 1/3. Brian Ramirez is 0 for 1 with a sac bunt. Foul back.
This was supposed to be the 12th or the 8th meeting this season between the two squads. Mother Nature postponed one of the games in San Antonio. It was supposed to be a 4-game series.
Good breaking ball in for a strike.
That was 1-2 on Brian Ramirez.
1-2 the count. Sun peering through what is, I would call now, a partly cloudy day. Some of the clouds burning off. 2-2 now the count. It's supposed to be less cloud cover and a little warmer tomorrow, but highs just in the 80s. Full count now. We know we have 3 games today. We could have just 1 tomorrow if the team that wins our second game today wins the first game tomorrow. That'll make them 3-0 and tournament champs as Ramirez swings and misses at a high fastball. Second time he has struck out, and now 5 strikeouts for Daniel Crooks.
You saw that earlier in the game. Crooks got a couple of strikeouts on that high fastball. St. Mary's had been able to lay off of those, but right there Ramirez chased one upstairs.
Crooks 8-1, an ERA of 3.13 coming in conference play. Perfect 5-0, ERA of 2.28, with 47 strikeouts and 43 in the third innings.
Yesterday, the Rattlers 7 hits as a team. Donnie Perez had 3 of them himself.
He's at the plate. Hit into a double play his last time up. He's 0 for 2. Swings late on that pitch, and it's 0-2. Now, this is opposite of what happened with Donnie Perez yesterday. In fact, he told us in the post-game press conference that Charlie Meagle, his head coach, always stresses to him, get in good counts, you'll get good pitches to hit. He hits this to right field, but under it and making the catch is Urquizo. And that's another quick 1-2-3 inning for Crooks. He is retired 7 straight. To the 7th we go. And the score has held up since the top of the first, 1-0. David Salzman, Logan Lawrence with you, not just now, but for Game 2 at 3:30, for Game 3 at 7 o'clock, and 1, maybe 2 games tomorrow. I'm glad you've been with us here at the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament in Cleburne, Texas, home of the new Cleburne Railroaders of the American Association. Their season will start next week. That's the first pitch strike to Caleb Kodiker as the top of the 7th is underway with Lubbock Christian up 1-0. years and years ago, in fact, a century ago, Cleburne Railroaders played in the Texas League, and they were the team that discovered Tris Speaker. Of course, had 22 amazing seasons in the major leagues. One of the best hitters in baseball history. Most of those years with Boston and Cleveland.
I think I remember seeing his plaque in Cooperstown. Possibly.
Possibly. It should be more than a plaque, a statue. He was amazing.
The pride of Hubbard, Texas. That ball blasted out to left center field.
Wind is going to curve it closer to center and makes for an easier play for Brandel, and there's one away.
You cannot go to left field in the air today.
You're going to get a ball in the air, you better hit it to right, and you better hit it hard enough that the wind doesn't take it foul. So, Tris Speaker, 7th best all-time, .344 batting average in the major leagues. In fact, many credit him with being the best center fielder of all time.
Willing to argue he had some pretty healthy competition from a man named Shoeless Joe around that time period.
Tris Speaker holds the major league record for doubles and putouts and assists as an outfielder. 2-0 count to Brandon Urquizo.
I bet he just dared people to run on him, right?
In 1920, he led Cleveland to their first World Series title as a player-manager. He had both roles, which was not incredibly uncommon back in the day.
Do you think he had the guts to take himself out?
What? I think after Pete Rose, we're not going to see any more player-managers in baseball. 3-1 the count. And, a strike, and Urquizo threw his bat towards the dugout. From here, that looked like a good call, but he thought that was outside.
I think the player manager, that's too much control for one person.
Oh, I agree, especially in this day and age. Especially with all the data that goes into your lineups and just the game of baseball overall. Urquizo hustled that one out, but Ramirez, his throw to Kaiser in time. 2 outs now, and 7 straight retired by Holden grounds. I couldn't imagine what you have to do nowadays. You see managers in baseball games today, and they're not just sitting back in the dugout. They're sitting at tables with just loads of paper, loads of data in front of them. Can you imagine Jeff Bannister sitting with all that data and then, I'm up, okay, grabs a bat, heads to the plate?
Yeah, many teams going to hiring statisticians and sabermetrics.
Mm-hmm.
Bill James being one of them with the Red Sox.
Yep.
It's become a big part of the game today.
Oh, it'll only get bigger. 1-1 the count to Brent Stewart, who's 0 for 2.
The eye test can only go so far. You've got to have some data to back it up.
So how good would Tris Speaker have been in the analytics world? I mean, he hit .344. But, of course, I imagine his on-base percentage and slugging percentage made for a good OPS, although I don't know what his career OPS was. 2-2 now the count to Stewart. Speaker was discovered by the Cleburne Railroaders in 1906, but started as a pitcher. He was only moved to the outfield because a teammate got hurt. Stewart swings and misses in another 1-2-3 inning for grounds. Can his offense get things going? 1-0. We'll stretch in Cleburne and back after this. As good of a job holding grounds has done for St. Mary's. Daniel Crooks has been even better, shutting out St. Mary's on 3 hits as we start the bottom of the 7th. And a big rip by Jack Kaiser, but misses for an 0-1 count. Kaiser 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Jacob Aguilar and Bo Barnes. Dribbler foul. 1-0 Lubbock Christian, bottom of the 7th, in St. Angelo. 2-0 Angelo State, top of the 6th over West Texas A&M. That's a winner's bracket game. And the winner's bracket game at the RMAC, Colorado Mesa trailing Colorado School of Mines 1-0 in the 2nd. Reyes, 3 unassisted. And there's 1 away in the 7th inning. Now, the Colorado Mesa game is something to keep an eye on. Both the Heartland and Lone Star, you have multiple teams with at-large aspirations. In the RMAC, Colorado Mesa is ranked 2 in the South Central rankings. Below Angelo State, they're in, but no one else is in the top 8. So even Colorado School of Mines, the 2nd seed, they have to win it all in Grand Junction to make it to the NCAA tournament. And a win over Mesa today would do wonders for them. But if a team other than Colorado Mesa wins the RMAC tournament, that'll knock a potential at-large berth away from a Heartland or Lone Star Conference team.
Yeah, Mesa lost a game in last year's RMAC tournament, was able to double dip. I believe it was Pueblo in the championship.
Mm-hmm. Mesa defeated Pueblo and ended their season yesterday 19-0. A 12-run first. The 2-1 count to Jacob Aguilar.
And that's my only, I guess, displeasure with the 6-team tournament is you lose that first game and then you have to play the number 1 seed who just won a game.
Right.
So a little unfair, but I mean you've got to play 3 different games, so that's
right.
What you got to do.
The 3-4 loser plays the winner of the 1-6 game, which was Mesa.
So I don't know. Maybe you let the 2-5 loser it be the 5th seed instead of the 6th seed. I don't know. It's tough. Instead of the 4th seed, sorry.
Well, we talked about it, and you give or take, right? You have a neutral site, which makes for better logistics. You know where you're going for the tournament, though it takes away the edge of being able to host as the top seed. Payoff pitch fouled off, and still 3-2 to Jacob Aguilar. I personally like 6 teams because of the depth of the conference, but I wish they could develop. Is there some way to give, whether it's the top seed or 1 and 2, some sort of an advantage, like a bye, let 3 through 6 play an extra game? That's inside, and Aguilar walks. Ends a string of 8 straight retired by Crooks.
Yeah, the Heartland Conference softball tournament used to be 6 teams, and the first 2 teams would get byes. They didn't play it like the baseball tournament does. I don't know if that adds any extra games when you do that, possibly.
Bo Barnes, 0 for 1, hit by a pitch in the 2nd and was left on base. The last 2 base runners before Aguilar for St. Mary's doubled up to in the 3rd and 4th. St. Mary's has left 3 on base today. Barnes coming in, St. Mary's best hitter. And the batting average column, 371. This is fouled back, and it's 0-2 to Barnes, who has struggled so far here in Cleburne, 0 for 5.
Well, with the wind blowing in from left, as I stated, you got to go to right field, and with the runner on first, Reyes holding on there, a big hole on the right side. Barnes has got to shoot it through that right side. Get something started for the Rattlers.
He's behind 0-2. Swing and a miss. One thing Bo Barnes doesn't lack is emotion, and I love watching him. He's a fun player to watch. He takes the slow walk, however, back into the dugout. Disappointed at what's been a tough 2 days for him at the plate. 2 away in the 7th. Here's Zach Johnson. 1-0 count. By the way, Aguilar just 1 stolen base on the season. The St. Mary's team doesn't run much except for James Galene, who has 11 steals. trying to get things going. Well, you send Aguilar here. It is a 1-0 count. Doesn't go. And it's 2-0 now to Johnson.
Well, David, the way things have panned out here with both starting pitchers working deep into this game, the winner of this game has set themselves up to make that long run because they haven't used their bullpen at all so far.
2-0, a strike at the outside corner. In fact, St. Mary's has not gone to their pen yet in this tournament. You mentioned Chris Jones, the 8-inning complete game loss yesterday. Lubbock Christian yesterday used 4 pitchers. St. Mary's is still pulling the trigger late on that high fastball. That's what Johnson just did there, and it's 2-2. 2 of the 4 pitchers for Lubbock Christian yesterday, though, went under an inning. Ricky Contreras went 6. Nathan Dockery went 2.
It's almost like they're guessing on this pitch. That's why you get deep in these counts. You have to guess against crooks sometimes.
Right side. Narvaez to Reyes. 1 out walk to Aguilar. He's left. Still 1-0 as we head to the 8th. These teams played 6 times in the regular season. Lubbock Christian won them all. And here on the conference's biggest stage, in an elimination game of the Heartland Conference Tournament, Lubbock Christian nursing a 1-0 lead. As we head to the 8th, 4 combined hits, just 1 for Lubbock Christian, 3 for St. Mary's. The player with the Lubbock Christian hit leads off the 8th, Josh Narvaez, who singled but then was caught stealing. If you're just joining us thinking, well, how does Lubbock Christian have a run on the board? Holden Grounds, who has been great since the 3rd, struggled mightily in the first couple of innings, and especially the first. His first 10 pitches were balls. First 3 batters reached base via the base on balls, and Jaime Bustamante, the leadoff hitter, scored on a wild pitch. That's how Lubbock Christian has this 1-0 edge.
Yeah, he's been brilliant since then. Able to keep these shat batters off balance, but a 4-pitch walk to Narvaez to lead off the 8th.
Yep, that's his first walk allowed since the 4th, his 6th overall. And so here's Bustamante, mentioned the walk and run in the first. He walked, moved to second on a wild pitch, moved to third after a walk to Tony Reyes, scored on the second wild pitch from grounds. There's activity now in the St. Mary's pen. 1-0 after Reyes showed bunt, or Bustamante rather.
After Narvaez was thrown out in his last at bat, Bustamante struck out looking. One of the few times he's been retired this tournament.
We'll have a conference on the mound before the 1-0 pitch to Bustamante with Brandon Ricks on deck. NCAA softball regionals, day 2 beginning. St. Mary's, a winner's bracket game in Canyon against West Texas A&M. That game is scoreless in the second. Lubbock Christian, Heartland Conference tournament champions, fell in heartbreaking fashion to the #1 team in the nation, Angelo State, last night. And they'll play a loser's bracket game at 3:30. Baseball, Lone Star Conference, West Texas A&M on the board, but they trail 2-1 to Angelo State in the bottom of the sixth. It's now 2-0 Colorado School of Mines over Colorado Mesa at the RMAC tournament in the top of the third. All right, ready now. 1-0 the count. Bustamante, nice bunt right side. Only play to first, and Bustamante does the job. So now Brandon Ricks, 0 for 2 with the walk in the first inning.
Well, that's how important runs are this game right here, because you've got your hottest hitter in the tournament sacrificing the runner to second.
When a game like this in a pitcher's duel, you feel a 2-run lead would just feels so big for Lubbock Christian, especially the way that their pitcher on Daniel Crooks is going. Ricks, his walk in the first, 7th straight game he's reached base. One point earlier this season, he had a 29-game streak of reaching base. 1-1 to count to him.
Ricks, one of those first-team All-Heartland Conference members for Lubbock Christian, 7 of them.
Lubbock Christian 19-2 when leading after 7. Up here in the 8th, good stop of that breaking ball by Barnes. Lubbock Christian had the lead after 6 yesterday against St. Edwards, lost it, just their 4th loss to 32 wins when leading after 6.
And I tell you, if you haven't been with us the whole way, how impressive was that block by Barnes behind the plate? Balls have been getting by the catcher left and right because of the artificial turf and the sunken-in home plate.
Yeah, he's a good one. Despite his struggles at the plate here at the tournament. 2-2 count now to Ricks with Tony Reyes on deck.
I know you mentioned in the first game last night, Barnes wasn't expected to play catcher. Coach Meagle, with some injuries and some slight light depth at the catching position, asked who could play catcher, and Barnes said, I used to play.
Well, Barnes had no chance at that pitch. That bounced 3 feet in front of the plate. And now Narvaez at third. Full count to Ricks.
Yeah, this new turf, you expect it to skip it being, new turf. It's slick, possibly. Not hard because it's hard because it is new. That's why, because there haven't been many people on the playing surface. So
right.
Kind of correcting myself there. That's why you're getting those huge bounces, especially when it hits in front of home plate, because all that room to get back to the catcher, it's taking that high bounce.
But regardless, it's so unusual. You just turf, grass, you just don't see the bounces like that. Now the infield plays in. Ball 4. So with activity in the St. Mary's pen, and now Ground struggling in the 8th, couple of walks. There's already been a visit to the mound once. And looking at the third base dugout where the Rattler coaches are, no movement at this point. So here's Tony Reyes. 370 batting average coming in. 32 runs batted in. Ball 1. His head coach Nathan Blackwood calls Reyes best overall leader. Middle infielders now in double play depth, as the double play would end the inning.
And Reyes has grounded into a team-leading 8 double plays.
Pitch on the outside corner.
So he is susceptible to that, but one of the best hitters on the team as well.
So Narvaez at third, Ricks at first. Still just one hit on the board for Lubbock Christian, but threatening here to extend a 1-0 lead. to left. Coming in Perez. Catch made. Tagging is Narvaez. Throw home short of the plate. And without the benefit of a hit in the 8th, Lubbock Christian scores. Now they'll appeal the tag from third, and Narvaez ruled safe that he was still on the bag as the catch was made. 2-0 Lubbock Christian. They get their run in the first without the benefit of a hit, and they have their run in the 8th without the benefit of a hit.
Your opinion on that tag?
I thought it was good.
It's good, yeah. Unable for you guys to see the catch out in left field, so hard for you to judge, but I thought it was good too.
Ryan Rogers, first pitch, fouling it off. He's 0 for 3 today. 2-1-0 for Lubbock Christian. 0-3-0 for St. Mary's. Aguilar has to hurry here, but Rogers now with the best of speed out at first, and that'll do it. So Lubbock Christian in the first scored a run on the benefit of 3 walks and 2 wild pitches. In the 8th, they get 2 walks, a sac bunt, a sac fly, enough for them to extend their lead to 2-0. Welcome back to the depot at Cleburne Station here, Cleburne, Texas, half hour or so southwest of Fort Worth. And a good one to begin are 3 games here. Day 2 of the Heartland Conference Tournament, 2-0 Lubbock Christian. Bottom of the 8th begins with no surprise. Daniel Crook still on the mound. And a first pitch strike to Bryce Brandel. He's 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Javier Camacho. Then top of the order and James Galeen. 1-1 now the count. St. Mary's has had runners on base in 5 of their first 7 innings. They have left 4. A couple of inning double plays in the 3rd and 4th hurting their cause. 2-1 now the count. There's no activity in the Lubbock Christian pen. Now, even before this game began, we talked a lot yesterday, Logan, about even with the Lubbock Christian loss, their staff may be best equipped to win 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow. They're deep, not just with their starting rotation, but also with their bullpen. But then you look at what Crooks is doing today, and it makes that point even more important. That's lifted to left, playing him shallow and still able to have enough room to make the catch at the line is Kodiker.
Absolutely. Contreras put in a good amount of work yesterday, and the Chaps only using one of their regular relievers in Lucia. So definitely a fresh bullpen, and they're not having to dip into their third starter as St. Edwards used Springer in game number 1.
Ricky Contreras went yesterday. Daniel Crooks now. Russell Reber, their 3rd weekend starter, 9-1. And so again, they're equipped here to win 2 games today and give their opponent fits tomorrow if they get that far, even though they'll need 2 wins tomorrow. Pinch hitter for St. Mary's, Stephen Wynn, was a pinch runner in the 9th inning last night in St. Mary's 6-3 loss. Redshirt freshman from San Antonio.
Antonian Prep High School.
Wynn hitting .227, 5 hits, 22 at bats. Count 2-0 to Wynn. Pinch hitting for Javier Camacho, who went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Now 3-0.
Well, you don't want to put Wynn on with the top of the order coming up behind him. You've already seen that Galeen is seeing the ball well today.
In there. Yeah, Galeen, 2 hits so far today, and is on deck.
Well, with how Crooks has performed here, I might be apt to take another one here.
That'll be tough. Charging hard, Ricks to first in time. What a play, Brandon Ricks. Home plate umpire Patrick Griffin looking into the dugout, wanting to calm at least one of the players for St. Mary's, yelling their disapproval at that call at first base. There was no arguing from Charlie Meagle and staff, however.
Yeah, if you know Coach Meagle, he's a fair man. He doesn't argue that often. He respects the umpires and what they're out there doing and how tough of a job it is. He's been at this for a long time. So
31 years as head coach will do the trick. Hoping this isn't his last game as St. Mary's head coach in his 31st season. He'll be back next year. In fact, I asked him yesterday, you know, his bio on the St. Mary's site says he's not close to being done. He joked, he said, well, when I'm done with my house payments, I'll consider it. So I said, how close are you done with your house? He didn't answer. It's personal information, of course. 2-1 the count to Galeen.
Maybe he'll go for 2,000 wins.
I said, you know, interest rates are low. 10 years. 2-2 now the count. St. Mary's has won a national championship with Charlie Meagle as head coach. He was an All-American back in '77 as a Rattler when they were an NAIA squad. Bouncer and Ricks to first and got him again. The Brandon Ricks inning. 2 great assists to end the 8th and still 2-0 Lubbock Christian. Welcome back to the Depot at Cleburne Station in the Heartland Conference Baseball Tournament. And as you see in front of the mound, headed towards the St. Mary's dugout, an unfortunate sight is James Galeen hustling down that first base line, trying to beat out the throw that ended the bottom of the eighth, tripped over the first base bag, fell hard, and had to be helped off the field by two members of the St. Mary's coaching staff, including head coach Charlie Meagle.
Yeah, subbing in for Galeen will be Jacob Aravalo, a redshirt sophomore out of San Antonio, Texas, Pleasanton High School, which is just south of San Antonio.
Well, Galeen is a senior, and so if his team doesn't rally in the bottom of the ninth, that's it for his college career. And you hate seeing that, but the hustle, of course, exemplifies what he's brought to the St. Mary's team. And a couple of hits here today. Just two of the three St. Mary's had came in with a .358 batting average, 11 stolen bases, and hopefully diagnosis isn't as bad as it looks. You hate when you see a player have to be helped off the field. So it's 2-0 to score. As Holden Grounds starts his ninth inning of work with a first pitch ball to Chase Simmons.
With just one hit allowed. He ends up losing this game with a one-hitter.
Fly ball to center, and Brandel with the catch. He had the one hit allowed, but 7 walks. 2 wild pitches, both in the first, that allowed Jaime Bustamante to score. And the back of the eighth, walk, sack bunt, walk, sack fly. And that gave Lubbock Christian insurance. Here's Caleb Kodiker, 0 for 3. This lifted to right center. Wind will carry it closer to right field. Brandel there, 2 away. Funny game baseball, of course you know that. Here's a Lubbock Christian team that got on base multiple times yesterday, scored 8 runs, left 12 on base, lost to St. Edward's 12-8. Now here today, best batting average in the league, 1 hit, up 2-0, and a chance to close it out in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, I think both pitchers are doing a good job of working up in the zone a little bit, which is causing a lot of fly balls. And on a day like today, that ball's going to hang up, and you're going to get a lot of flyouts.
That was
the team
foul.
that puts the ball on the ground and through the holes, that's the team that's going to end up on top on the scoreboard.
Sorry, Logan. That pitch to Brendan Urquizo fouled off the mask of Barnes. Shakes that off. And ready for the 0-1. We're told the pitch count for Grounds is at 128. He's done his job. But same for Daniel Crooks, the Lubbock Christian starter. 0-2 now to Urquizo. Brian Ramirez, Donnie Perez, Jack Kaiser due up for the Rattlers. That's a 3-pitch strikeout. Urquizo goes down looking. After his first 10 pitches were balls, and none of them close to the zone, what a recovery by Holden Grounds. Yet his offense needs 2. Bottom of the ninth coming. Lubbock Christian 3 outs away from their first Heartland Conference Tournament victory ever. 2-0. Daniel Crooks looking to close it out. A first pitch strike to Brian Ramirez, who's 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts and a sac bunt. Crooks coming in 8-1, but no complete games on the year. So looking for his first. Ripped to left. On the run, Kodiker, and it falls for a base hit. So a leadoff single for Ramirez.
Well, exactly what you want here in the bottom of the ninth. 2, 3, 4 up to bat, and Donnie Perez, arguably the hottest hitter after yesterday with 3 hits, up to the plate.
0 for 3 today, but 3 hits, 2 RBIs yesterday. Conference on the mound first between Crooks and his battery mate Chase Simmons before the first pitch to Perez with Jack Kaiser on deck. Perez 8 homers, 38 RBIs. But because of that strong wind, and it's gotten stronger now, I'd have to say it's about 20 miles per hour going from left to right. It's tough to get a homer over that left field wall unless you absolutely rip it. Now, Nathan Blackwood has come out, and Lubbock Christian's going to make a change. So Crooks will not get his first complete game.
I think it's number 6, E.J. Ramos.
E.J. Ramos
yesterday
will come in. Where maybe Christian Marquez, who is their closer, with 5 saves on the year.
Yes.
But what a job. 8. Sorry, Logan. So it is Marquez. What a heck of a job by Crooks. It has put his team in position to extend its regular season. Still believe they'll make the NCAA tournament regardless of what happens here. They're ranked 3rd in the South Central Regional rankings. But Crooks going 8+, 4 hits allowed. So far, no runs, although the runner at first, Ramirez, is his responsibility. But in for him is Christian Marquez, one of their many seniors who play such a vital role from Andrews, Texas, Louisiana Tech transfer. Now, he has the 5 saves and 7 relief appearances. He's also started 5 games. For the season, 3-2, but with an ERA of 6.34. 30 runs, 23 earned, allowed in 32 and 2/3 innings. Opponents are hitting .343 against him. He has 12 walks in 32 and 2/3 innings. In Heartland Conference play, 4 saves in 5 relief appearances, but with an ERA close to 7. So now he's a better reliever than a starter, but certainly the ERA not what you'd expect from someone with the number of saves he has. However, he is out there to try to keep Lubbock Christian's hopes alive at a conference tournament title.
Well, you never can judge much off of the warm-up pitches, but 85 to 88 so far on the warm-up pitches. I'm sure he'll dial that up a little more when he gets a batter in there with the adrenaline pumping.
So it'll be Donnie Perez first up. Lubbock Christian again, their 2 runs coming without the benefit of a hit in the first and in the 8th. They have 1 hit all game, a single in the 5th by their second baseman Josh Narvaez. St. Mary's, the single by Brian Ramirez, their first hit since the 4th. And it is just the 3rd time they have had the leadoff man aboard.
You can see up there by the scoreboard on your screen, the flags are picked up a little bit. The wind blowing very heavy now from left field.
So here we go. Donnie Perez mentioned 0 for 3 today, but 3 for 5 last night. 8 homers on the year. First pitch strike. 2-0 Lubbock Christian here. 3-2 West Texas A&M has taken the lead on Angelo State and the Lone Star. 2-1 Mines over Mesa and the Armac. Lubbock Christian trying to end St. Mary's season here in Cleburne. Good off-speed pitch across the zone. It's 0-2. Takes it outside, 1-2. Regardless of when this game ends, St. Edward's Fort Smith or winners bracket game will start no earlier than 3:30. Fouled off an inside fastball.
87 miles an hour on that pitch by Marquez.
He's given up a lot of hits, but he strikes out a lot of guys too, about 1 an inning. Ramirez, 4 for 4 in stolen bases this season, but this is certainly not a situation where you think you'd see him run with the tying run at the plate. 2-2. Lubbock Christian looking to go 7-0 against St. Mary's this season and end the Rattlers' year. Got him. First out of the ninth. Now Perez, the sophomore, or rather, I apologize, Kaiser, the senior, 0 for 3 today, came in batting .317, 4 home runs. 1 for 6, 2 walks here in Cleburne. Pitch stayed in front of Simmons, 1-0. Now, you mentioned the wind, Logan, blowing hard from left to right. And so that could help this left-handed hitter and Kaiser, who again with those 4 homers, a threat to tie things up with one swing. Right side. Reyes to second for 1, back to first, got him, and that does it. 3-6-3 double play. Lubbock Christian, their first conference tournament victory ever. And St. Mary's, their season ends with a tough luck loss against Lubbock Christian this afternoon. Despite just 1 hit, Lubbock Christian with a 2-0 win. Their 37th victory of the season, while St. Mary's ends its year at 23-26. Lubbock Christian will take on the loser of our next game between St. Edward's and Fort Smith at 7 o'clock. Fort Smith and St. Edward's coming up at 3:30. Well, Lubbock Christian scores their run in the first without the benefit of a hit. They're running the 8th without the benefit of a hit, but give their pitching staff credit holding this good St. Mary's offense down to no runs, posting the shutout, and keeping their hopes at a conference tournament title alive.
Absolutely. Daniel Crooks proved why he's a first-team all-conference pitcher today. And you got to give credit to also Holden Browns. Kept his team in the game. Both pitchers outstanding, saved their bullpens. Lubbock Christian now has a bit of an advantage going into tonight's game. They're going to have a fresh bullpen.
Right, and not only do they start Russell Reber tonight, who's 9-1, Marquez came in and only got the 1 inning save, so you think he'd be available if need be tonight. And so although Lubbock Christian still needs to win tonight and 2 games tomorrow, they're in better position than most teams would be.
Absolutely. They already had a deep pitching staff coming in, and it only gets better now with just a handful of pitchers to use. They got the whole bullpen ready to go.
Yeah, and for St. Mary's, it was such, and Charlie Meagle said in his 31 years as head coach of the Rattlers, maybe his most roller coaster season ever, because, and you saw in Heartland games, they would sweep an opponent or they'd be swept, and all but one series in here, despite being very competitive in both games, 2 and out for them.
Well, Lubbock Christian able to reverse last year's decision, and they stay alive. They do not go 2 and out.
Well, 3:30 is the first pitch. Even though it's still over an hour away, we will start at the regularly scheduled time of 3:30 for St. Edward's and Arkansas Fort Smith. The winner of that game moves on to Championship Saturday. Loser of that game, again, will take on Lubbock Christian in our nightcap in what would be our second elimination game of the day. So Lubbock Christian, a nice break for them this afternoon before they are in action tonight. And you can take a nice break yourself before coming back at 3:30 and joining both of us for the winner's bracket contest. For Logan Lawrence, I'm David Salzman. 2-0, the Lubbock Christian victory over St. Mary's here this afternoon. Back at it at 3:30 from the Heartland Conference Tournament in Cleburne.